From the Dignity Health Studio at the Bakersfield Californian, this is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital,
Good morning. Welcome to Strictly Business for Monday, December 15th, 2014. I'm Nathan Ahle, Manager of Government Affairs at the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. We've got a great show for you this morning. Today we'll be joined by Ryan Nielsen of Brown Armstrong to chat about what internal controls business should have in place within their AP departments. Then Angel Cottrell, consultant for the CSUB Small Business Development Center, will stop by to talk about crowdfunding as an alternative funding option for small businesses. But first, let's see what's in the news. Covered California says open enrollment is off to a strong start. A total of 69,245 consumers submitted applications in the first 4 days of the second annual open enrollment of Covered California. Slightly over half, 35,877 people, were eligible for coverage through the individual marketplace at the exchange, and 11,357 picked a plan. Another 33,368 people who applied were deemed eligible for Medi-Cal. For the vast majority of consumers, the website was working well. In 4 days, there were 314,100 unique visitors to the site. Covered California is applying lessons learned during its first open enrollment to smooth out the process this time around. It's shorter this year. Open enrollment for healthcare benefits in 2015 runs now through February 15th. Consumers must sign up by today if they want their benefits to start January 1st. A month after threatening to avoid California, when talks with organized labor groups derailed, a Japanese company said they would follow through with much-touted plans to open a light rail manufacturing facility in Los Angeles County after all. Rather than build a new factory, Kinkasharo International of Osaka will retrofit an existing space in Palmdale to build light rail vehicles for the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. The company will also recognize a labor union if a majority of employees request one. The agreement marks the apparent end of a multi-year battle between Los Angeles County's powerful organized labor movement and a company that has not had traditional unions in its factories. Metro has struggled for years to acquire enough rail cars for the county's rapidly growing transit network. A $300 million deal with the Italian firm Ansaldo Breda to build 100 light rail vehicles fell apart in late 2009, putting Metro more than 2 years behind its original schedule. The agency needs a major shipment of new vehicles for 2 light rail routes to Santa Monica and Azusa, which are scheduled to open in 2016. Google offers a high-tech spoon that stays shaky in steady hands. For a company best known for its search engine, Google is making big investments in the medical field. First, it was contact lenses to help diabetics monitor their glucose levels, along with magnetic nanoparticles to detect signs of cancer and impending heart attacks. And now, the tech giant is working on its latest medical venture, the LiftWear Spoon. This device could make life easier for the millions of people who live with Parkinson's disease or with essential tremor, a nervous system disorder that causes rhythmic shaking. Developed by health technology company Lift Labs, which Google acquired in September for an undisclosed sum, the spoon comes embedded with an electronic device that uses hundreds of algorithms to sense how a hand is shaking. In clinical trials, the spoons reduce shaking by an average of 76%. Lift Labs founder Anupam Pathak started work on the electronic spoon in grad school while researching motion stabilization. Because Parkinson's disease affects more than 1 million people in America alone, he wanted to see if he could help those who hand tremors prevent them from performing basic tasks like feeding themselves. A hospital brings healthcare and jobs to downtown Modesto. About 16 months after opening its doors, the downtown Modesto hospital is filled with patients and has almost 400 employees on its payroll, the chief executive officer said. Central Valley Specialty Hospital at 17th and 8th Streets in Modesto provides long-term acute care at a time when medical centers are penalized financially for Medicare patients who are discharged and then readmitted within a month for additional treatment. Central Valley opened in July 2013 with the former Modesto City Hospital with 36 long-term acute care beds and 64 skilled nursing beds. The LTAC section was expanded to 80 beds in April, and today, all but 4 of the hospital's 100 beds are used for long-term acute care. The hospital opened with a reported 194 employees, but has more than doubled that number, putting almost 400 health workers in Modesto's downtown area. The owner and investors have spent $32 million on building upgrades, equipment, and furnishings, such as adjustable beds that allow some patients to sit up and breathe easier. The city of Sanger was on the brink of declaring bankruptcy 4 years ago when the recession left the small eastern Fresno community with 10 abandoned home developments, high unemployment, and a weak economy on top of mounting debt. But instead of declaring a financial crisis like other California cities and some cities nationwide, Sanger leaders found a way to turn their fortunes around. Sanger made a bold move. It waived residential development fees, offered incentives for developers to build downtown, and made a commitment to provide residents with training to fill local jobs. Now, 5 residential developments are under construction, vacant lots in the downtown area are filling up, and businesses are staying put and moving in. Sanger was even recognized this year by the San Francisco-based consumer advocacy website NerdWallet as the 14th best place in Northern California for young families. The same website ranked Clovis number 1 on the list. City leaders say the momentum is growing and clearing a path for the city to become the next Clovis. Software company Zenefits is the fastest growing startup in recent memory, but selling computer applications isn't how that company earned that superlative. Instead, Zenefits has morphed from a skeletal 15 employees into an army of nearly 500 and counting, its revenue growth outpacing that of many Valley software giants by upending the health insurance industry. That's because this high-tech startup is also a health insurance broker, working as the middleman between businesses and healthcare providers such as Anthem Blue Cross. It's a business model that hasn't been successful before, say venture capitalists and insurance experts, and it's made Zenefits one of the most watched startups in the country and launched Parker Conrad, the company's unassuming and mild-mannered co-founder and chief executive, into the hard-charging, high-stakes Valley tech boom. It has also sparked a bitter turf war between Zenefits and traditional insurance brokers, many of whom see the company as the greatest threat to their paychecks since healthcare reform. President Obama's executive action on immigration, which was recently announced, will do little to help farm operators struggling to get the workers they need and could drive more agricultural production outside the United States. The agricultural community is heavily dependent on immigrant workers, with the biggest beneficiaries dairy, cattle, and swine farmers in states such as Iowa, as well as California, Florida, and other areas where undocumented workers are essential to harvest fruits and vegetables. Here to talk about its effects here in Kern County is Greg Wegis of Wegis & Young and president of the Kern County Farm Bureau. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So, since farm workers can't apply for protection because of their job, how will these likely affect our local immigrant workers and farmers?
Well, here in Kern County, we're a $6 billion industry, and looking at some of the numbers, there's about 3 million immigrants, workers that work there on a temporary seasonal basis, and about 70% of those are undocumented. And so that leaves around 2 million undocumented workers working in the United States of America. And of that figure, through this executive action, this deferral of deportation that President Obama's implemented, it will help around 250,000 estimated, 250,000. So it's a small portion of our issue of undocumented workers in agriculture. And it's mainly going to help individuals that have American-born citizen children that will be able to apply or been here longer than 5 years working with no real criminal records or issues. And so we were in need of a bigger picture, a longer-term solution, and we're urging Congress to pass an immigration reform bill to match the Senate bill that was passed, 744, that was passed by the Senate over about 17 months ago. So we're urging Congress to act for a longer-term solution instead of this short-term.
Okay, and what would that longer-term reform look like so that it benefits both workers and their and the farmers themselves?
Well, we're hoping for a working visa program, a program that an individual in Mexico, for instance, can sign up. We would, Kern County or California farms, United States farms can apply for a certain amount of workers needed to harvest their crops for the year, and a system that they could be easily moved to and from their countries as the workload demands. Sometimes we have larger crops than others. The system needs to be flexible, and more beneficial to agriculture.
Okay. And real quick, so you're with the Farm Bureau. What can people do to get involved? How can they get involved with the Farm Bureau and help urge Congress to enact these reforms?
Well, we can always looking for more members at the Kern County Farm Bureau, so you can become a Farm Bureau member, come to meetings, align with your message with ours. You can also contact legislators and our elected officials directly. Our main focus right now is Congress, that we do need to pass a bill. So our U.S. congressmen, we're trying to reach out to them and urge them to work with the Senate and to compromise and come up with a bill that gives us a long-term solution and a steady labor supply. Steady means people can invest in businesses, make decisions. Us not having a solution right now, a long-term solution, it makes it very difficult for business of any kind with uncertainty. So we want certainty, and that's what our main goal is.
Okay. Greg Wegis, president of the Kern County Farm Bureau, thanks very much for coming in this morning and
Anytime.
letting us know about this very important issue. Certainly immigration, one of the hottest topics in Kern County right now, and we do appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we will be right back after these messages.